All right, I'm gonna do a quick video on growing your own broccoli sprouts at home. These are the jars that I use. They have the screen mesh top, and then they come with this little draining stand. I got all this stuff on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description if you're curious about getting the same jars. But to start, you definitely want to clean and dry your jars. Make sure that they're good to go before you start growing. I use about a third cup. I'd recommend maybe a little less than a third cup to grow your seeds. At the end, when you see at the end of the video, like the jars are super full from doing a third cup, so maybe a little bit less is good. The steps that I'm following here are all the same steps that Dr. Rhonda Patrick recommends. If you haven't read her articles or seen her videos, highly recommend checking those out as well. But like I said, to start, put about a third cup of seeds into each jar. Cool, and now you need to clean the seeds. So I recommend doing a little bit of apple cider vinegar, and then you're going to also add, sounds crazy, but you're gonna add one tiny drop of dish soap in there as well. So add that, and then we are going to fill it with water and start rinsing. So I use filtered water. I'm not so sure I don't know that you have to. I just thought it would be a good idea. So fill these up, let them soak for a little while, probably about 10 minutes. After the 10 minutes, I put the screen tops back on and rinse very well. Rinse like probably about 10 times for each one. Just make sure that all the apple cider vinegar, obviously the dish soap is all off of there. Just rinse super well. So after you've rinsed, you're going to leave about 1 inch of water in the seeds, and you're going to let that sit overnight or for about 8 hours. So the seeds are just going to sit in that water, and they're going to start to grow. I think it's best to do that overnight, so then in the morning, you can go ahead and dump that water out, rinse the seeds once, twice, 3 times. Just rinse them a couple times, make sure they're looking good, and then place them back in that rack so that the excess water can drain out. So at this point in the process, you are just rinsing twice a day. So you rinse them in the morning, you rinse them at night before you go to bed, and you do that for anywhere between like 3 to 5 days, and you'll slowly start to watch your seeds grow and become sprouts. So that was the first day. This is the evening, and I'll just kind of walk you through and show you each process just to give you an idea of what the sprouts look like for each stage as they grow. So it's a fairly simple process. You really just rinse after the first night, the cleaning. You're just rinsing in the morning and in the evening, making sure to use that drying rack so that everything drips out. I kind of like to spread the seeds out a little bit, see how they're kind of like sitting on the side of the jar to give them room to grow. So this is day 2 in the morning. Still not much sprouting yet, but just doing that rinse for both jars. And you don't have to do 2 jars. I mean, it yielded a lot of sprouts at the end, but you can do 1 or 2 jars. Obviously up to you. Show you that I'm just kind of spreading the seeds out all along the rim or the edge of the glass. The evening rinse, you're starting to see a little bit of sprouting happening, but still not much. So here we have a little bit of growth. This is day 2, evening of day 2. By the third evening, starting to sprout quite a bit more. The jar's starting to get quite a bit fuller. Still, every time, straining like 2, 3, 4 times. Just making sure everything gets soaked, everything gets cleaned. Day 4 morning, things are starting to look pretty good. Another thing to note is I don't know that you don't need to put the sprouts in sunlight or in a dark shaded place. I just kept them kind of on my kitchen counter. They weren't in any sunlight, but I don't know that that really matters. Jar number 2 looking good, starting to get pretty full actually. So like I said, if you used a bit less than a third cup, I think it's probably better, because by day 5 the jar was super full, like very compact, but you'll see that in a second. Cool, so there you have it, growing your own sprouts at home. We're done. By day 5, the jars were full, the sprouts were looking good. Still quite a few seeds that didn't actually sprout, but I'm gonna show you how to kind of remove those. Just so when you eventually are eating them, you're not eating like just the seeds, right? So I dumped both the jars into like a big bowl, pull everything out, and then do like another rinse, and some of the seeds will actually float to the top, and you're able to scoop out the unsprouted seeds. So I put all the sprouts into a strainer, let it strain for maybe like an hour, just kind of shook it every once in a while just to make sure it was nice and dry. And there you have it. That was 2 jars of sprouts, and then I put some of them into a bag to store in the freezer and like kind of throw into smoothies, and then another bag, smaller bag, that I kept to eat fresh in the next like day or so. So you can add it to meals, add it to salads, add it to smoothies, and you're good to go. You got sprouts. If you have any questions on this stuff, let me know.